And welcome back to part 2 of What If Goku Had Been Born with Ultra Instinct. Now, a little bit of house cleaning on this what if. First off, someone asked the question, if he had Ultra Instinct, he wouldn't have hit his head as a kid. That's not entirely true. First off, that's not true because A, just because you can react to something doesn't mean your body automatically reacts to an attack or something like that, doesn't mean that falling is an attack. Basically, having an accident is not the same thing as an incoming attack. It doesn't work the same way. B, though, Ultra Instinct in this sense is something Goku has a natural access to, but remember, it's not truly a form change, but it did still act similar to a form change. Specifically, when we went to Mastered Ultra Instinct right here, yeah, you can see form change, hair color, it is a bit of a form change there. So Goku, being a little baby, couldn't immediately avoid that. So he'd still hit his head, and we'd have all that. But the big thing that we need to address here is what is the multiplier of Ultra Instinct? Because, like it or not, there is at least some type of multiplier to it. It clearly was some sort of increase in power that Goku experienced. So the question is, what exactly was the multiplier? Now, I was treating it essentially like a 5 times and maybe like a 10. I think that's how I was going with originally when we went to Mastered versus, Omen. But, I've heard a lot of people comment on it, and while I don't agree really with no offense to anyone who, commented on it, and I'm sure I'll still get more people arguing the point, I didn't really agree with the math, essentially, especially with some people just flat out saying numbers like, Super Saiyan Blue is a 15,000 times multiplier. Okay, first off, no, it's not. It's clearly not. But even if it was, where's your proof on that? Or saying this and that compared to that. So the way I broke it down here is, remember, a being could theoretically not have God Ki, but have Ultra Instinct. Ultra Instinct does seem to be very tied to the divine beings, and mortals who are able to achieve it seem to suffer repercussions for it, like Goku did. But that's not to say that you couldn't theoretically, as a mortal, have it. Roshi, for instance, in the manga, was able to move with movements very similar to Ultra Instinct, although not actual true Ultra Instinct. So, what is the multiplier for us? So, the multiplier for me in my head, we have to scale back first off the Super Saiyan God. Now, whatever God's power is, that's what God's power is. Now, Super Saiyan Blue is a larger multiplier on that because you're comparing Super Saiyan with Super Saiyan God. Now, what is the multiplier on that? Well, oddly enough, I don't think it can't be a 50 times multiplier. Because there's no way, because Beerus, when he saw Goku and Super Saiyan Blue use Kaioken times 10, said that he felt he was pretty confident he could still beat him, but he was generally surprised by it. So there's no way that Super Saiyan Blue is 50 times Super Saiyan God, because that would mean at minimum, he'd be, at his most bare minimum, he would be 50% of Beerus's power, and then 5 times Beerus's power after he went Super Saiyan Kaioken times 10. What I think is more likely, it's probably more like a 5 times multiplier, something along those lines. Especially when you're like in your full powered Super Saiyan Blue form. Then you add the Kaioken on that, and then it makes a lot more sense. So we're looking at 5 times the base, and then you add another 5. Then you add another 10 times that, and you're looking at about 50 times your normal Super Saiyan God. And even then, Goku was barely able to land a hit on Jiren. Still could, but was barely able to. But then he's able to start, Jiren has to now block against Goku and Super Saiyan, Ultra Instinct Omen. So what's the difference? And that's the real disparity here. And the real question we have to ask. What's the difference between Omen and Super Saiyan God times 20? What's the difference there? Because that's going to be our big main multiplier when Goku goes Omen. To me, it has to probably be about another 5 times. And the reason I go with say that is because the drastic increase between times 20 and Omen was clear. 17 remarked that it's like Goku was on a completely different field. So the multiplier had to have been something pretty significant and couldn't have been just a times 2 or times 3. So I'm going to say it was a times 5. And then it's double that when you go to Mastered, simply because, Mastered probably doesn't really even have that big a multiplier after that. So when we do the math of what I just did there, 50 times base when we're looking at the Kaioken times 20, it's 100 times base when you're looking at the Kaioken times 20. Then you enter 5 times, that's 500 times. So ultimately, if we decide to be nice and give one more multiplier because you're adding offense onto defense with Mastered, then we're looking at 1,000 times. So that is for the foreseeable future of this what if. You can comment all you want. I'm not going to change it from here on out. 500 for Omen, 1,000 for Mastered. So anyway, now that we're 5 minutes into the video, last time on the Dragon Ball Z What If Goku was born with Ultra Instinct? Last time, Goku had just managed to defeat King Piccolo, but King Piccolo had sired his spawn, Piccolo Jr., to wreak havoc in his stead. So he went to visit Kami. After a brief interaction, him, Kami, and Popo, we're talking things out, and it's like, okay, you should stay here and train, Goku. Prepare, hone your skills. So that is what Goku does. Goku stays and trains with Kami for those some odd years. So what now? Remember, Goku's power is a little bit higher, but it's not anything super drastic. Goku's power, I think, was like around 200 or something odd there. He was able to beat King Piccolo, whose power was like 200 some odd or something like that. So Goku's power might be around 250 at this point. So he spends years training in the hyperbolic time chamber with Mr. Popo, who also has kind of his own Ultra Instinct a little bit. He can kind of react without, moving. Where does Goku's power end up? Well, first off, he still can't stay in the hyperbolic time chamber for a full-on year because it's not because he can't handle the conditions thanks to his Ultra Instinct. He can. It's because it's the psychological effects it has on Goku. He can't manage to stay in there as long. Granted, or that long, but he can't stay in there longer. I'm going to say he kind of taps out around 4 months, third of a year. I say that. So with that and everything else, Goku, working on his Ultra Instinct and everything along those lines. Although it's pretty hard to work on Ultra Instinct in terms of, practicing with it when you only have yourself. Although he trains with Popo and Kami when Kami feels like it. So when we get him at the World Martial Arts Tournament again, Goku's base alone is probably hitting at least it's probably doubled over that span of time, at least. I'd probably even go so far as to say we're looking at Goku's base power might be hitting around the 1,000 marker. I think that is not an unrealistic scenario because he's able to train harder with his Ultra Instinct, particularly in the hyperbolic time chamber when he was still able to do that. So when Goku shows up, his power is far greater. Bulma's, kind of oogling and ogling. I was like, wow. And I guess I missed my chance with him. Or did you, Bulma? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, she did. There was nothing in this scenario that really changed that enabled Bulma and Goku to be a couple. So Goku, he pretty much beats the hell everyone in the tournament. Piccolo, by the way, isn't anything stronger than he is in the normal canon because he hasn't had experience against someone as powerful as Goku. So his training was the same. So Goku kind of just goes through, beats everyone, faces off against Ma Jr., and beats the ever-loving crud out of him. Like, even when Piccolo decides to show off and, tries to break Goku's arms, Goku he maybe manages to do that once. It's like, because he gets his Goku off guard. It's like, got you, Goku! And then Goku just Ultra Instincts out of there. And just, yeah, right. And just puts a smackdown on his ass. And then Piccolo is down for the count then. There's nothing Piccolo can do. But Goku spares him, stops Kami from killing him. Him and Chi-Chi will get married. La-di-da. So that basically, and then you get the mild adventures they have there. So that sums up that pretty quick. We move into the DBZ realm now. Now, because Goku's so much stronger in this, I do think like Krillin and Yamcha, and well, not Yamcha, but Tien. Tien's probably more around 300 because he's putting extra training in. Krillin's probably around 250 because he's putting extra training in. Piccolo's also probably going to be stronger by a solid margin. I'd put him close because we know Piccolo can increase his power in like a year's time by 8 if he's really, by like 8 times if he was really putting his back into it. So I'd imagine Piccolo right now, especially having seen Goku's Ultra Instinct, Piccolo's power might be hitting around the 1200 range. I think that's honestly a reasonable area to put him at with his way to close off. With the Mon, he's more around, say, 1000, which is still a pretty impressive increase. Goku, if we're going by the same logic that we saw in the original, his power was roughly like 260 and it jumped all the way to like 418. That is over a 50% increase. So the question is, where do we actually sit him at in terms of a power level? That's what I think. I think percentage-wise, it's right around like a 60%, 70% increase, give or take. So, not quite. I think it's like a 60. So if we go 60% of what Goku Power already was, which is pretty easy to figure out, it was 1,000, he's at 1,600 right now. Not even including Ultra Instinct or Ultra Instinct Omen. So that's when Raditz shows up. Now here's the thing. Remember, Raditz met up with Piccolo first. Piccolo is close to Raditz's own power level. And it's like, Namekian. So what are you doing here, Namekian? It's like, doing my own thing, planning to conquer the earth. What are you doing here? It's like, oh, I'm looking for someone. Maybe you could be so helpful and as to find him for me, or tell me where he might be. He's a Saiyan known as Kakarot. Kakarot. And remember, Goku has... Oh, actually, no. Goku doesn't have his tail because he's gone... because he gave up his tail to return the moon, which would have been blown up at this point, I think. So, yeah, because Roshi would have blown up the moon. Regardless, Goku still would have gone into Ultra Instinct, blown up the moon, or a Great Ape, and blown up the moon, so they would have to take care of that. Ultimately, though, Piccolo still does that cheap shot, just blasts him, and yeah, that one hurts. Remember, at like 300 and whatever Piccolo is, 308, something like that, Piccolo barely singed it. I think he actually said, that barely singed my leg hair. At 1,000, which we know from the Zaisenshi, Radz's power is about 1,500. That's not a power that Radz wants to be, cheap, blocked, hit by. Or Radz can't really hide his power or anything like that. So he's generally speaking at full power. And Piccolo says it, so he kind of just, does the cheap shot on him. And that hurt a lot. Rad's like, well, Namekian, that didn't tickle. Oh, crap. And so, he quickly takes off his weighted training clothes. He sees a little boost in Piccolo's powers. He's like, very well. There's a stronger power. There's a power level of 6. Now, Goku's weighted training clothes probably make his power more like 1,400. 1,400. That must be Kakarot. But first, and here's the thing. Originally, Piccolo didn't hurt him, and Piccolo's power was hardly anything compared to his. So he couldn't, so he figured Goku was the bigger fish to fry. Piccolo's power at this point is something that he has to actually take concern with. He has to take a bit of an issue with. So he basically, him and Piccolo will fight. And they are, they go toe to toe. Now, Piccolo is obviously the weaker of the two, but he is, I think, the better fighter of the two. Rad's definitely, what you could tell, was a bit more of a brawler style fighting than Piccolo was. Or than like Vegeta or Goku or anything along those lines. So Piccolo does have the skill advantage, and they're going toe to toe. Piccolo's still on the losing side of the fight just because of the sheer power, just because of the power difference, which isn't a huge gap at this point. But he's still on the losing end. Loses his arm at one point, but he charges, he blasts Raditz. They're both huffing and puffing. And he starts charging deck. I won't let you! And Piccolo barely has time to charge, so he just shoots it. It does hit, and it does pierce Raditz's shoulder, so now they're both down her arm. And he basically grows his arm back. He's like, is that the best you got? And all of a sudden, Kakarot shows up. Goku shows up. Because he's not Kakarot. He's Goku. Says, stay here. He basically told everyone to stay here. I'm going to check things out. Ends up flying over. Because I think Goku at this point would fly. He's like, what the heck's going on? What the hell's going on here? Kakarot. It's you. Joy, come on, brother. We have lots to discuss. First, let me kill this Namekian. You can't kill Piccolo. You kill Piccolo, you destroy I can't let you do that, Rat. I can't let you do that. It's like, I don't even know who you are. I'm your brother, Kakarot. Don't you remember me? No, I don't really know who you are. And then he basically says, you're a proud member of the Saiyan race. Mighty warriors, you're near extinct race at that. How can you not remember any of this? Oh, my grandpa said I kind of hit my head as a kid. Maybe that had something to do with it. But if you guys are but they're all like you, I don't want anything to do with you guys. It's like, how dare you, Kakarot, betray your race like that? Are you okay, Piccolo? Bite me. It's like, yeah, you're okay. So, Brad's like, if you will not come willingly, I'll just kill you. And then I'll have to kill you, Kakarot. Don't make me do this, brother. We could be so much more. It's like, yeah, but no. Radz comes in, and Goku can sense Radz's power, although he's weakened at this point, is still pretty powerful. Goku's suppressed is around 1400. Radz is still a bit stronger, but weakened, he's a little stronger than Radz. So, they're going toe to toe for a little bit. Goku decides to just take his weighted training clothes off at this point. Go to full power just to, even it out. Now Goku's on the winning side. It's over, brother. Stop this. Never. I will never stop this. And then he basically said, you don't understand. I'm not even using what was the percentage there? I'm not even using a 1% of my full power. What? What do you mean you're not using a 1% of your full power? Your power is you're already outclassing me. But I'm the more experienced warrior, Kakarot. That's why I'll win. So I'm calling your bluff. And then Goku's just like, and then, Radz comes in and Goku just boom, blocks it, and then you get Ultra Instinct Omen Goku, not full Ultra Instinct, who, remember, we have calculated, at least in my view, to have a 500 times multiplier on regular Super Saiyan God from the base. So, now granted, yeah, it's only like maybe 5 times like Kaioken times 20 Super Saiyan Blue Goku, but again, when you talk about where Goku is coming from his base, which would be God Ki in this sense, then it's a completely different multiplier. So, his power level skyrockets in flight. Afternoon delight. Because we're adding 2 zeros and a 5. That makes, doing our quick math here today, kids, that's a grand total of about, 800,000 just in Omen, which then doubling that would put him at around 3.2 billion, give or take, or million. So he just, and Radz's scouter just blows up, because I don't even think Vegeta's scouter could handle anything past maybe 13,000. Because Radz's scouter broke right around the 21,000 marker. He's like, what is this? I know this is a power I've had ever since I was a child, brother. It's the power that's helped me survive. It's the power that's helped me grow. It's the power that's helped me, and the power that's helped me become who I am today. Now I'll ask you one last time. Leave now and never come back. And then he just kind of holds up his hand there. I don't want to kill you, but I will if I have to. And, Rad's like, and then he actually, Rad's, being the smart one, retreats. This isn't over, Kakarot. When I will be back, and I will be back with reinforcements for Nappa and Vegeta. The prince, the elites are coming. Goku, we will be back. And then he heads off. So here's the thing: Raditz and Nappa and Vegeta were listening in on the comm the whole time. And basically, they knew about the drone. Now, but Rad's scouter blew up in this version. So how much of that did they actually hear? Probably a little bit of the fight, but they don't know really about the Dragon Balls. So is there a reason for them to go? Well, yes, because Radz, I think, does, contact them in from the pod. And he's beat the hell, so he'll get a bit of Zenkai when it's all said and done. Nothing huge. I'd say, standard like 25% Zenkai, which, doing the math real quick in my head, would be... That's a good question. What is that Zenkai? Because half of that is 750, so 375? Yeah, 375. So for easy numbers, we'll round up to 2,000. I think that's fair. I think that's more. We'll give him a 33% increase because, he faced off against a tough opponent. So he'll be at 2,000 when it's all said and done. But, he contacts Radz and Nappa, telling him about what happens. You lost your brother. His power grows so high it broke the scouter. What? You're joking, right? Your device must have been defective. I can't explain it, but the power... And to be fair, his Ultra Instinct isn't divine in nature. It's an ability he has. It's just what Ultra Instinct kind of is. It's really hard to describe how Ultra Instinct from a mortal's power perspective compares to the divine. To a mortal, it would come off as godlike, but it's not divine key. But But that being said, Raditz, he explains this, I gotta get back to the main ship and heal. And, he's going out there. And I think Raditz and Nappa would meet up with him. And they, hear him after he gets healed up. He gets a nice boost. He even comments like, oh, yeah, maybe you'll have to get your ass kicked more often, Raditz. That power decrease is quite impressive. In fact, quite frankly, you could actually take out all the Cybermen with that power. It's like, yeah, gee, thanks. And basically, he explains what happened. It's like, so Kakarot has grown quite powerful indeed. Well, Nappa, why don't we go and pay him a visit? You don't understand. And Rad's even like, you'll be hard pressed to beat him. It's like, are you saying I can't beat him? It's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't beat him. He's like, and then he just he decks Radz. He doesn't kill him because, he's still one of the few Saiyans left. And he's not injured or anything like he can't fight ever again. And he might threaten to kill Radz. Like, say it again, Radz. Say it one more time. Know your place, Radz. You are just a lowly grunt, while I am the Prince of all Saiyans, a super elite. Nappa alone is an elite Saiyan. So we're going to this Earth, and we're going to show Kakarot the true meaning of what it truly means to be a Saiyan elite. Are you going to come, Raditz? Are you going to or are you going to stay here with your tail between your legs? And Raditz like, fine, I'll go up, only to just prove to you that we're no match for them. Because I briefly says like I'll be back, but then later on, Rad's pretty much had time to reflect on it. He was basically just kind of, scared out of his mind. Just can't believe I lost like that. Now he's had time to reflect. Like, no, there's no way we could beat Goku. Back on Earth, though, it's like, so the Saiyans are going to come. We're going to have to prepare. Yeah. I hate you. You know that. Yeah, I know. But why? I mean, look, I never did anything. You killed your father who was going to destroy the world. You're not your dad. It's like, I have no real reason to hate you. Get over it. I must admit, you're quite angry for no reason. They both look up at not having noticed someone else there. And floating up in the sky is this weird guy in these very, very priest-like Orient robes with a staff that's got a ball in there. His skin's blue. His hair's white. Oh, don't mind me. I was enjoying the show. But now that it's all over, I'd like to have a bit of a conversation with you, if I would. Goku, is it? And yeah, Whis is here to visit. What's that about? That's where we're going to leave it off for right now. Raditz is alive. I know a lot of people wanted me to keep Raditz alive, and you know what? For what it was, when Raditz knows that he's completely outmatched, and you have an overwhelming force like a Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku in your face, or an Ultra Instinct Goku in your face, yeah, you're going to hightail it out of there. So Raditz is alive, and Whis has come to play. Now, why is Whis there? Well, if you've seen my little spoiler here, my What If Goku Was Born with God Key video, you can kind of see where I might be going with this. But the circumstances that happens here would be different. So, we'll have to wait and see where that goes. But until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. By the way, I do hope you liked what I decided to do with the multiplier on the Ultra Instinct. It's Ultra Instinct. Once we get into the God Key, well, first off, there is no true multiplier on God Key or Super Saiyan Blue, so I really had to, work it out there. But I hope you like and agree, and if not, that's cool. If you have your own personal idea of what Ultra Instinct, Super Saiyan God multipliers are like, by all means, put it in the comments below. I'm more than willing to hear them out. But like I said, I will not be changing the multiplier. What the multiplier is, 500 and 1000 for Mastered, that's what's going to be staying for the rest of the video. So just keeping that in mind. And let's be honest, even if I had stayed at just my 5 and 10, Goku would still have easily outclassed Raditz at this point. He would have, at his full power, he would have been like 16,000. So he would have easily curb stomped him. But no, we're going with that. We're overpowering Goku. I mean, we gave him Ultra Instinct from the get. We've already overpowered him a bit. So anyway, I digress. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review at some point. And ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Superior, Magic, What If, anything to do on the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. I got a who would win, and that's it for the day.